There is a city that floats between the evening sky and the first quiet hours of night, suspended in a place where the air grows thin and the clouds gather in soft, endless layers below. This is Cloud City, a place of gentle towers and curving walkways, where the light falls in long, amber streams through tall windows, and where the hum of the world seems distant and muffled, as though wrapped in something soft. I have come here not with purpose or urgency, but simply to move through its quiet streets, to let my steps carry me wherever the pathways lead, and to watch as the day slowly gives way to the calm and patient arrival of night. The streets are empty now, or nearly so. Here and there a figure passes in the distance, their silhouette dark against the fading glow of the western sky, but they do not hurry, and they do not call out. Everyone here seems to understand that this is a place for slowness, for the kind of movement that requires no thought, no decision, only the gentle rhythm of one foot placed before the other. I walk along a wide avenue lined with tall columns, their surfaces smooth and cool beneath my fingertips when I pause to rest my hand against them. The columns rise high above me, disappearing into the soft shadows that gather near the ceiling, and between them I can see the sky beginning to deepen, the pale blue of afternoon giving way to something richer, something that speaks of the coming stars. The air here is cool, but not cold. It moves gently across my face, carrying with it the faint scent of metal and stone, and something else, something I cannot quite name, perhaps the smell of clouds themselves, or the particular quality of air that exists only at great heights, far above the surface of any world. I breathe it in slowly, letting it fill my lungs, and then I let it out again, just as slowly, and I find that my breathing has begun to match the rhythm of my steps, each breath falling in time with the quiet contact of my feet against the smooth floor. The walkway curves gently to the left, and I follow it without thinking, allowing the architecture itself to guide me. The buildings here are rounded and soft in their shapes, with no sharp corners or sudden edges. Everything flows from one form into another, as though the city were not built but grown, shaped by patient hands over long years. The windows are large and arched, and through them I can see into rooms that are dim and unoccupied, filled with the kind of stillness that suggests no one has entered or left for many hours. Some of the rooms contain furniture-low chairs, simple tables, shelves lined with objects I cannot quite make out, but most are empty, their floors bare, their walls painted in shades of cream and pale gray that seem to absorb the fading light rather than reflect it. I pass beneath an archway and find myself on a narrower path, one that runs alongside a shallow canal. The water in the canal is very still, its surface like glass, and in it I can see the reflection of the sky above, now deepening into shades of violet and rose. The reflection is so clear, so perfect, that for a moment I am not certain which is real, the sky above me or the sky below, and I stand there for a time, watching as the colors shift and blend, as the light grows softer and the day continues its slow retreat. There's a bench nearby, set into a small alcove in the wall, and I sit down upon it, letting my weight settle fully, letting my shoulders drop and my hands rest gently in my lap. From here I can see the length of the canal stretching away in both directions, its edges lined with low railings of polished metal that catch the last of the daylight and hold it for a moment before releasing it back into the gathering dusk. The water does not move. There is no current here, no ripple or wave, only the stillness of a surface undisturbed. And I find that I am grateful for this, for the way it mirrors my own desire to simply be, to exist without motion or effort. Time passes, though I could not say how much. Minutes, perhaps, or longer. The light continues to change, growing dimmer by such small degrees that I do not notice the transitions, only the slow and steady accumulation of shadow. The buildings around me begin to lose their detail, their windows becoming dark squares, their surfaces fading into soft masses of gray and blue. The sky above has turned a deep velvety indigo, and now as I watch the first stars appear, small points of light that seem to flicker into being one at a time, as though someone were lighting them with careful, deliberate hands. I rise from the bench and continue walking. The path along the canal eventually leads me to a wider plaza, a circular space paved with smooth stone and ringed by tall lampposts. The lamps are lit now, though I did not see anyone light them, and their glow is soft and golden, casting gentle pools of illumination across the ground. The plaza is empty, and my footsteps echo very faintly as I cross it, the sound quiet and distant, as though it were coming from somewhere else, some other place entirely. On the far side of the plaza, I find a staircase that spirals upward, winding around the outside of a cylindrical tower. The steps are wide and shallow, easy to climb, and I begin to ascend them without hurry, letting my hand trail along the smooth railing as I go. The staircase rises in a long, gentle curve, and as I climb, I can feel the air growing cooler, can feel the faint movement of wind that was not present below. The wind does not gust or blow, but rather moves in a steady, continuous stream, as though the city itself were breathing, drawing air in through unseen openings and releasing it again in slow, measured exhalations. I climb for some time, pausing now and then to rest, to look out over the railing at the city spreading below me. From this height, the streets and buildings take on a different quality, becoming patterns of light and shadow, a tapestry woven from soft grays and ambers, and the deep, quiet blue of the evening sky. I can see the canal I walked beside earlier, now a thin line of reflected starlight, and beyond it the shapes of other towers, other walkways, all of them connected in ways I cannot quite discern, all of them part of this larger whole that drifts so quietly through the upper reaches of the atmosphere. The staircase ends at a broad platform, open to the sky on all sides. There are no walls here, no roof, only the railing that runs around the perimeter, and beyond it the vast expanse of space that stretches away in every direction. I walk to the railing and place my hands upon it, feeling its coolness, its solidity, and I look out at the view before me. Below, the clouds form a thick, unbroken layer, a sea of white and silver that extends to the horizon in all directions. The surface of the clouds is soft and textured, like the surface of snow or cotton, and it catches the light of the stars and holds it, so that the entire expanse seems to glow with a faint, luminous quality. Above, the sky is now fully dark, a deep and endless black, scattered with countless stars, more stars than I could ever count, each one sharp and clear, each one burning with a light that has traveled unimaginable distances to reach this place, this moment. I stand there for a long time, simply looking. There is nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. The city continues its slow drift through the atmosphere, moving at a pace so gradual that I cannot feel it, cannot sense the motion at all, and yet I know that we are moving, that this entire structure is traveling through space, carried on currents of air and subtle forces that keep it aloft, keep it suspended in this place between the world below and the infinite expanse above. The wind moves across the platform in long, slow waves, and I can feel it tugging gently at my clothes, can feel it moving through my hair. It is not cold, this wind, but it is cool, and it carries with it the scent of open space, of emptiness and distance. I close my eyes and simply stand there, letting the wind wash over me, letting it carry away the last remnants of thought, of intention, until there is nothing left but the sensation of standing, of breathing, of being present in this high and quiet place. When I open my eyes again, I notice that there are other platforms visible in the distance, other towers rising from the body of the city, each one topped with a similar open space, each one empty and waiting. I wonder if anyone else is standing on those platforms tonight, if there are other travelers who have come here to watch the stars, to feel the wind, to drift for a time in this place of stillness and height. But I do not wonder for long, because it does not matter. Whether I am alone or accompanied, the experience is the same, the slow passage of time, the gradual deepening of night, the quiet sense of being held, suspended, carried through the dark. I leave the platform eventually and descend the staircase, my steps slow and careful, my hand resting lightly on the railing. Each step downward is deliberate, measured, and I count them without counting, simply aware of the rhythm, the repetition, the gentle descent through the vertical space of the tower. The railing is smooth beneath my palm, worn by countless other hands that have held it over the years, and I imagine all those other travelers, all those other seekers of quiet, moving along this same spiral path, each one carried by their own moment, their own breath, their own slow journey through the night. The staircase curves around and around, and I follow its spiral without thought, trusting the architecture to guide me, trusting the path to lead me where I need to go. The air grows slightly warmer as I descend, the coolness of the high platform giving way to the more sheltered temperature of the city proper, and I notice this change as I would notice the gradual shift of seasons as something inevitable and natural, requiring no response, no adjustment. Through the gaps in the tower's outer wall, I catch glimpses of other structures, other sections of the city spread out in the growing darkness. Lights glow in scattered windows, soft and amber, like small fires burning in the distance. And I wonder briefly about the people who might be behind those lights, what they are doing in this quiet hour, whether they too are seeking rest, seeking silence, seeking the kind of peace that can only be found in stillness. But these thoughts are fleeting, passing like clouds across the surface of my mind, leaving no trace, no residue. I am content to simply descend, to simply move through the space, to simply be present to the stone beneath my feet, and the cool metal of the railing and the gentle sound of my own breathing echoing very softly in the enclosed stairwell. When I finally reach the bottom, stepping off the last step onto the smooth surface of the plaza, I pause for a moment, feeling the solid ground beneath me, feeling the way it supports my weight without effort, without complaint. The plaza stretches out before me, empty and peaceful, and the lamps that ring its perimeter cast their soft light across the paving stones, creating pools of illumination that blend and overlap, creating a patchwork of light and shadow. The city below seems even quieter now, the lights even softer, and as I stand there in the plaza, I find that the silence has deepened, has become something almost tangible, something I can feel pressing gently against my skin, wrapping around me like a soft garment, like a cloak woven from the fabric of night itself. I walk through the plaza and down another street, this one narrower than the first, lined with buildings whose facades are decorated with simple geometric patterns carved into the stone. The patterns repeat over and over, circles and lines and gentle curves, and I find myself tracing them with my eyes as I walk, following their rhythms, their quiet symmetries. The street slopes gently downward, leading me deeper into the heart of the city, and I follow it without question, trusting that it will take me where I need to go, even if I do not know where that is. I pass through another archway and find myself in a covered corridor, a long hallway whose ceiling is supported by rows of slender columns. The light here is very dim, provided only by small lamps set into niches in the walls, and the air is warmer, insulated from the cool wind outside. The floor is covered with a soft material, as though I have entered a space that demands reverence, that asks for care and gentleness. The corridor opens into a large chamber, circular in shape, with a high domed ceiling that rises far above me. The dome is painted with stars, thousands of them, arranged in patterns that might be constellations, though I do not recognize them. The stars are rendered in silver and gold against a background of deep blue, and they seem to shimmer in the low light, as though they were alive, as though they were burning with their own quiet fire. In the center of the chamber there is a circular pool of water, very shallow, its surface perfectly still. The water reflects the painted stars above, doubling them, creating the illusion that I am standing in the center of a sphere of stars, surrounded on all sides by light. I walk to the edge of the pool and kneel down beside it, resting my hands on the cool stone rim. I can see my own reflection in the water, a dark shape against the reflected stars, and I watch as my breath disturbs the surface very slightly, sending out tiny ripples that spread and fade and disappear. The water is cool to the touch, and I dip my fingers into it, letting them rest just beneath the surface, feeling the gentle resistance, the quiet weight of it. I remain there for some time, kneeling beside the pool, watching the water, watching the stars. There is no sound in the chamber except for my own breathing, and even that seems to fade after a while, becoming part of the larger silence, absorbed into it. I feel as though I could stay here forever, kneeling in this quiet place, surrounded by reflected light, and the thought does not trouble me. There is no urgency, no need to move on, no destination waiting. There is only this moment, this stillness, this gentle presence. Eventually I rise and leave the chamber, stepping back into the corridor and following it to another archway, another street. The city seems to unfold before me in layers, each passage leading to another space, each space opening onto another path, and I move through them all with the same unhurried pace, the same quiet attention. I am not exploring, not searching. I am simply allowing myself to be carried along by the architecture, by the gentle logic of the city's design. I find myself on a balcony that overlooks a wide courtyard. The courtyard is paved with pale stone and surrounded by buildings with tall, narrow windows. In the center of the courtyard there is a fountain, though it is not running. The fountain consists of several tiers of carved stone, each one smaller than the last, rising to a point at the top. The stone is weathered and smooth, and in the dim light it looks soft, almost organic, as though it had been shaped by water and wind rather than by tools. I descend a short flight of steps and walk across the courtyard to the fountain. There are benches arranged around it, simple stone seats with no backs, and I sit down on one of them, facing the fountain, looking up at its tiered shape. The stars are visible above the courtyard, framed by the buildings on all sides, and I can see them reflected faintly in the dark, empty basin at the fountain's base. The air is very still here, sheltered from the wind by the surrounding buildings. I can hear nothing, no footsteps, no voices, no distant hum of machinery. The city might be empty, abandoned, or it might be full of people sleeping, resting, waiting for the morning. I do not know, and I find that I do not need to know. The silence is complete and comforting, a presence in itself, and I sit within it as though within a room, surrounded by walls of quiet. Time continues to pass, measured only by the slow rotation of the stars overhead, by the gradual deepening of the night. I sit and watch the fountain, watch the stars, watch the play of shadow and faint light across the stone. My thoughts grow slower, more diffuse, until they are no longer thoughts at all, but only sensations, the coolness of the stone beneath me, the gentle pressure of the air, the soft darkness that fills the spaces between the buildings. The fountain before me, silent and still, seems to hold within its carved tiers all the patience of the world, all the quiet acceptance of time's passage. I study its form, letting my eyes trace the curves and angles of the stone, following the way each tier rises from the one below, creating a gentle pyramid that reaches upward toward the stars. The stone is pale in the starlight, almost luminous, and its surface is marked with patterns worn smooth by weather and time spirals, and waves that suggest the movement of water even though the fountain itself is dry. I imagine what this place must be like when the fountain runs, when water cascades from tier to tier, filling the courtyard with the sound of falling liquid, with the bright music of splash and flow. But even in this imagining, I find that I prefer the silence, prefer the dry stillness that allows for a different kind of attention, a different quality of presence. The fountain at rest is complete in itself, needing nothing, asking for nothing, simply being what it is, a structure designed to hold water, but equally beautiful in its emptiness. I shift slightly on the bench, finding a new position, and as I do, I notice that the stars have indeed moved, have indeed progressed along their ancient paths across the sky. The constellation I saw earlier has rotated, the pattern shifted, and new stars have appeared in the frame of sky visible above the courtyard. These stars are dimmer, fainter, requiring more attention to see, and I focus on them now, giving them the same gentle regard I gave to their brighter companions, acknowledging their presence, their light, their long journey across the darkness to arrive at this moment, in this place, witnessed by these eyes. The air has grown still in the courtyard, utterly motionless, as though the entire city were holding its breath. In this stillness I become aware of my own heartbeat, a soft rhythm in my chest, steady and patient, and I listen to it the way I might listen to distant music, letting it fill the silence without disturbing it, letting it become part of the larger quiet that surrounds me. My breathing has synchronized with my heartbeat, or perhaps it was always synchronized, and I am only now noticing, and together they create a gentle cadence that seems to resonate with something in the city itself, some fundamental rhythm that pulses through the stone and the air, some deep vibration that connects all things, animate and inanimate, into a single living whole. I close my eyes and simply sit, feeling this connection, feeling the way my own small life participates in the larger life of the city, of the world, of the universe beyond. The boundaries between inside and outside, between self and other, grow thin and permeable, and I have the sense that I could dissolve into this moment, could let myself be absorbed into the stillness, could become nothing more than a point of awareness floating in an ocean of peace. But I do not dissolve. I remain present and intact, held together by some force that is stronger than my desire to let go, some imperative to continue being, to continue witnessing, to continue this quiet journey through the night. And so I sit and I breathe and I wait, though I am not waiting for anything in particular, simply allowing time to pass, allowing the night to deepen, allowing the city to carry me wherever it will. When I open my eyes again, everything is exactly as it was, and yet somehow different, transformed by the passage of time, by the slow accumulation of moments that have occurred while I sat with my eyes closed. The stars have moved further in their courses, the shadows have shifted by small degrees, and the air has grown perhaps a shade cooler, though the change is so subtle that I cannot be certain whether it is real or imagined. After a while, I stand and walk to the far side of the courtyard, where another archway leads into a narrow alley. The alley is lined with tall walls, and the sky is visible only as a thin strip of darkness overhead. The walls are close together, and my shoulders nearly brush against them as I walk, but the space does not feel confining. Instead, it feels protective, sheltering, as though I am walking through a passage designed to hold and comfort, to guide without directing. The alley opens onto a wide avenue, and I step out into the open once more. The avenue is lined with trees, or what I think are trees, tall, slender structures with branching forms that rise high above me, their upper reaches disappearing into the shadows. They might be sculptures, or they might be living things adapted to this high, strange place. I cannot tell, and it does not seem important. What matters is their presence, the way they frame the avenue, the way they create a sense of enclosure and shelter even in this open space. I walk down the avenue, passing beneath the branches of the tree-like structures, and I notice that the ground here is softer, covered with something that feels like moss or grass, though I cannot see it clearly in the dim light. The softness is pleasant, yielding slightly beneath my feet, and I slow my pace even further, savoring the sensation, the way it cushions each step. The avenue curves gently, and as I follow the curve, I see that it leads to a bridge, a narrow structure that spans a gap between two sections of the city. The bridge is made of the same smooth material as the streets and walkways, and it has low railings on either side. I step onto the bridge and pause in the middle, looking down into the space below. Far beneath me I can see the tops of clouds, faintly illuminated by starlight, their surfaces textured and uneven. The gap between the sections of the city is wide, and the sense of height is dizzying for a moment, but it passes quickly, replaced by a calm acceptance, a recognition that this is simply how the city is, suspended and fragmented, held together by bridges and walkways, and the invisible forces that keep it aloft. I cross the bridge and continue on, entering a new section of the city. This area feels older, quieter, the buildings lower and more weathered. The streets are narrower, winding in gentle curves, and the light is even dimmer here, provided only by occasional lamps set into the walls. The lamps are enclosed in frosted glass, and their light is soft and diffused, barely enough to see by, but enough to navigate, to move forward without stumbling. I pass doorways and windows, all of them dark, all of them closed. Some of the doors have small symbols carved into their frames, circles, spirals, simple geometric shapes, and I wonder what they mean, what purpose they serve. But I do not stop to examine them closely. I am content to simply pass by, to acknowledge their presence without needing to understand it. The street opens into a small square, and in the center of the square there is a tree. This one is unmistakably alive, with a thick trunk and spreading branches, its leaves rustling very faintly in the gentle movement of air. The tree is not large, but it is well established, its roots visible at the base of the trunk, spreading out across the surface of the stone before disappearing beneath it. I walk to the tree and place my hand on its trunk, feeling the rough texture of the bark, the solidity of the wood beneath. The tree is warm, warmer than the air around it, and I can feel a faint vibration running through it, a slow pulse that might be the movement of sap, the quiet life of the tree itself. I sit down at the base of the tree, leaning my back against the trunk, and I look up through the branches at the stars beyond. The leaves form a delicate pattern against the sky, a lacework of shadow and light, and I watch as they move very slightly, swaying in rhythms too slow to follow, too gentle to disturb. The trunk behind me is solid and warm, and I can feel its strength supporting me, feel the life that runs through it in slow currents of sap and growth. The tree is old, I sense. Though I cannot say how I know this, perhaps it is the thickness of the trunk, the way the bark has grown rough and deeply textured, or perhaps it is simply an intuition, a feeling that this tree has stood in this place for many years, that it has witnessed countless nights like this one, countless travelers who have rested against its trunk just as I am resting now. I place my palm flat against the bark, feeling its warmth, feeling the small irregularities in its surface, the ridges and valleys that form natural patterns, organic geometries created by years of growth. The warmth surprises me, not because it is excessive, but because it is so much greater than the surrounding air, so clearly a sign of life, of the slow metabolism that sustains the tree, that keeps it alive and growing, even in this high, strange place. Beneath my hand I can feel a faint vibration, a pulse so subtle that I might be imagining it, might be projecting my own heartbeat onto the tree, feeling in it an echo of my own life. But imagination or reality, the sensation is comforting, creating a sense of connection, of shared existence between myself and this living thing that shares this small square with me, that offers its shade and its support without asking for anything in return. The ground here is soft as well, covered with the same moss-like growth I felt on the avenue, and I shift my position slightly, finding a comfortable angle, letting my body settle fully against the tree. The warmth of the trunk seeps into my back, spreading across my shoulders, down my spine, and I feel my muscles relaxing further, releasing tensions I did not know I was carrying, letting go of holdings I was not aware I maintained. Above me, through the lattice of leaves and branches, the stars continue their slow procession across the sky. I can see them moving now, if I watch carefully, if I fix my gaze on a single point and wait, patient and still. The movement is imperceptible at first, but gradually, over minutes, I can detect the shift, can see the way the stars change position relative to the branches, sliding slowly from one side of a leaf to the other, disappearing behind a twig, only to emerge again on the far side. This movement is ancient and eternal, the turning of the world on its axis, the great wheel of the cosmos grinding slowly onward, carrying everything with it, the stars and the planets, the city and the clouds, the tree and myself, all of us spinning together through the darkness, bound by forces we cannot see, guided by laws we cannot change, participating whether we will it or not in the great dance of existence. I watch the stars and I feel the tree behind me, and I listen to the silence. And gradually I become aware that I am smiling, that my lips have curved upward in an expression of contentment, of peace, of simple gratitude for this moment, for this place, for this gentle resting in the midst of night. The smile feels natural, effortless, arising without intention or decision, simply appearing on my face the way the stars appear in the sky, the way the leaves appear on the tree as an inevitable expression of what is. The moss beneath me is soft and yielding, and I can feel it compressing very slightly under my weight, conforming to the shape of my body, providing a cushion that is neither too firm nor too soft, but exactly right, exactly what is needed. I wonder about this moss, about how it came to grow here in this high city suspended in the clouds, about what sustains it, what provides it with the nutrients and moisture it needs to survive. But these questions are idle, without urgency, and they drift away as easily as they arose, leaving behind only the simple fact of the moss, its presence, its softness beneath me. Time loses its linearity here, beneath the tree. Minutes might be hours, hours might be minutes, or time might have ceased to flow at all, might have congealed into a single extended moment that contains all possible moments within itself. I cannot tell, and I find that I do not care, that the question of duration has no relevance, no bearing on the experience of sitting, of resting, of being present to the tree and the stars and the gentle darkness that surrounds everything. My breathing has become so slow and so quiet that I barely notice it anymore, each breath a long drawn-out tide that rises and falls with the patience of centuries, with the slowness of mountains eroding grain by grain into the sea, becoming more and more rooted in this place, more and more connected to the tree, to the earth beneath the stone, to the ancient rhythms that sustain all life. The stars wheel overhead, and the tree stands firm behind me, and the moss cushions me from below, and I am held, supported, cradled by these three presences, sky and tree and earth, each one offering its particular gift, each one contributing to the wholeness of this moment, to the completeness of this rest. When I open my eyes again, the stars seem brighter, more numerous, as though they have multiplied in the moments I was not watching. The sky is filled with them now, a vast field of light stretching in all directions, and I feel as though I could fall upward into them, could let go of the ground and drift up through the branches, through the atmosphere, into the endless space beyond. But I do not move. I remain where I am, sitting at the base of the tree, watching the stars, breathing slowly and evenly. There is nowhere else I need to be, nothing else I need to do. The city drifts on through the night, carrying me with it, and I am content to be carried, to let the motion happen without effort or intention. Time loses its meaning. I sit and watch, and the stars wheel slowly overhead, following their ancient paths across the sky. The tree behind me continues its slow pulse, and the air continues its gentle movement, and everything is as it should be, as it has always been, as it will continue to be long after I have moved on. Eventually I rise from my place at the base of the tree and continue walking. The streets lead me onward, winding through the quiet neighborhoods, past more darkened windows, more closed doors. I walk without thinking, letting my feet find their own path, and after a time I find myself on another balcony, this one overlooking the edge of the city. The balcony extends out over the void, and I can see the clouds spread out below me, an endless ocean of white and silver. The edge of the city is visible here, a clean line where the buildings end and the emptiness begins, and I walk to the railing and look out over the expanse. The stars are everywhere now, above and below, reflected in the surface of the clouds, so that I seem to be suspended in the center of a sphere of light. The sensation is both exhilarating and calming, a reminder of the vastness of space, of the smallness of this city, of myself, and yet also of the way we are all connected, all part of the same infinite whole. I stand at the railing for a long time, watching the clouds, watching the stars, feeling the wind move across my face. The wind is steady here, flowing past the edge of the city in a continuous stream, and I can feel it pulling very gently at me, inviting me to lean into it, to trust its support. I close my eyes and simply stand, feeling the wind, feeling the solidity of the railing beneath my hands, feeling the slow drift of the city through the night. There is no sound except for the faint whisper of the wind, and even that seems to fade after a while, becoming part of the silence, absorbed into it. The stars have shifted in their positions, moving through their slow arcs, and the clouds below have taken on a different texture, their surfaces rippled and uneven. I do not know how long I have been standing here, minutes, hours, longer, but it does not matter. Time is different here, measured not by clocks or the passage of moments, but by the slow changes in light and shadow, by the turning of the stars, by the rhythm of breath and heartbeat. I leave the balcony and walk back into the city, following a different path now, one that leads me through a series of connected courtyards, each one smaller and more intimate than the last. The courtyards are planted with small gardens, or at least with things that resemble gardens, beds of low-growing plants with silvery leaves and delicate flowers that seem to glow faintly in the darkness. The air here is scented with something sweet and subtle, a fragrance that I cannot quite identify, but that fills me with a sense of peace, of well-being. I walk slowly through the courtyards, pausing to look at the plants, to breathe in their scent, to run my fingers over the soft leaves. The paths between the courtyards are paved with small stones that shift slightly beneath my feet, making a gentle crunching sound that is soothing in its regularity. The last courtyard opens onto a covered walkway, a long corridor with walls on one side and open arches on the other. Through the arches I can see the city spreading out below me, a maze of streets and buildings and quiet spaces, all of them bathed in the soft light of the stars. I walk along the corridor, pausing at each arch to look out, to take in the view, and I find that each perspective offers something slightly different, a different angle, a different arrangement of light and shadow, a different sense of depth and distance. At the end of the corridor, there's a door, simple and unadorned, and I push it open and step through into a small room. The room is empty except for a low platform near one wall covered with soft cushions. The walls are bare, painted in a pale neutral color, and there is a single window, round and high up near the ceiling, through which the starlight enters, casting a faint glow across the floor. I walk to the platform and sit down on it, then lie back against the cushions, letting my body relax fully, letting the tension drain from my shoulders, my neck, my limbs. The cushions are soft and supportive, molding themselves to my shape, and I feel as though I am being held, cradled, supported by something gentle and caring. The window above me frames a small circle of sky, and through it I can see a handful of stars, their light steady and unwavering. I watch them as I lie there, following their slow movements, feeling my breathing slow and deepen, feeling my thoughts grow quieter and more distant. The city continues its drift through the night, carrying me with it, and I am content to let it carry me, to let the motion happen without effort, without will. There's nothing I need to do, nowhere I need to be. I am here, in this quiet room, beneath these stars, and that is enough. The stars continue their slow dance across the small circle of sky visible through the window. I watch them without urgency, without the need to understand or interpret, simply allowing their light to wash over me in gentle waves. My breathing has become so slow now that I barely notice it, each breath a long, drawn-out tide that rises and falls with the same patience as the movement of clouds far below the city. The cushions beneath me seem to grow softer, or perhaps I am simply sinking more deeply into them, my body releasing its last holdings of tension and settling into complete rest. The room around me is so quiet that I can hear the faint whisper of my own breath, the gentle rustle of fabric as I shift very slightly, seeking an even more comfortable position. These small sounds do not disturb the silence, but rather become part of it, tiny notes in a symphony of stillness. Through the circular window, I notice that one star burns slightly brighter than the others, a steady point of light that seems to pulse very gently, though perhaps this is only an effect of my own breathing, my own heartbeat, creating rhythms that I project onto the unchanging heavens. I focus on this star, letting my gaze rest upon it, and I find that the longer I look, the more the rest of the room seems to fade, until there is only the star and the darkness around it, only the light and the space through which it travels. I think about the distance that light has crossed to reach me here, the unimaginable spans of emptiness it has traversed, and I feel a kinship with it. This light that has journeyed so far to arrive at this moment, in this room, meeting my eyes in the quiet hours of the night. We are both travelers, both moving through spaces vast and unknown, both following paths that were set long ago, before we had any awareness of where they might lead. But these thoughts are gentle, unfocused, and they drift away almost as soon as they form, replaced by the simple fact of seeing, of being present to the light. There is no need to understand, no need to explain or interpret. The star shines, and I see it, and that is all there is. The room remains utterly still. No sounds reach me from the city outside, no footsteps, no voices, no distant hum of activity. It is as though the entire city has fallen into sleep, or as though I have somehow drifted away from it, into a space that exists apart from time and movement, a pocket of stillness carved out of the fabric of the world. I let my eyes close for a moment, and behind my closed lids I can still see the star, its image retained as a faint point of light against the darkness. The light seems to float there, drifting very slowly, and I follow its drift, not with my eyes, but with something else, some deeper faculty of attention that does not require sight. When I open my eyes again, the star is still there in the window, unchanged, eternal. The sky around it has perhaps deepened a shade, the darkness growing richer, more complete. But the transition is so gradual that I cannot be certain. Night in this place seems not to progress, but to simply deepen, to become more fully itself with each passing moment. I turn my head slightly to look at the walls of the room, barely visible in the faint starlight. They are smooth and featureless, offering nothing for the eye to catch on, no detail to examine or consider. This emptiness is not lacking but complete in itself, a fullness of absence that requires nothing more. The walls hold the space, define it without constraining it, and within that held space I rest. My hands lie open at my sides, palms up, fingers slightly curved. I can feel the fabric of the cushions beneath them, soft and cool, can feel the very slight movement of air across my skin. These sensations are so subtle that they exist at the very threshold of perception, barely there, almost imagined, and yet they anchor me, remind me that I am still here, still embodied, still present in this quiet place. The window shows me nothing but stars now, the buildings of the city having fallen away below the level of my vision, held aloft by nothing but the gentle currents of existence. The city beneath me, the clouds beneath the city, the world beneath the clouds, all of these seem distant now, theoretical, less real than this room, this window, these stars. I breathe in slowly, filling my lungs with the cool, clean air of this high place, and I hold the breath for a moment, feeling it fill the spaces within me, feeling the expansion of my chest, the gentle pressure of air against the inner surfaces of my body. Then I release the breath just as slowly, letting it flow out in a long, smooth exhalation that seems to last forever, that seems to merge with the darkness and the silence, becoming indistinguishable from them. The rhythm of breathing becomes the only rhythm, the only measure of time, in and out, slow and slower, each breath a little longer than the last, each pause between breaths a little deeper, a little more complete. My heartbeat, too, has slowed, matching itself to this gentle cadence, and I can feel it now as a soft pulse in my chest, a steady drumbeat so quiet that it might be the heartbeat of the city itself, the slow circulation of life through these quiet streets and empty rooms. The star in the window continues to shine, patient and unwavering, asking nothing, offering only its presence. I watch it, or rather, I let myself be aware of it without the effort of watching, without the focus that watching requires. It is there, and I am here, and between us there is only space and light, and the slow passage of time that is no longer time but something else, something without name or measure. My thoughts have become like clouds now, soft and diffuse, drifting across the landscape of my mind without form or definition. They do not coalesce into words or images, but remain as gentle presences, felt rather than known, sensed rather than understood. And even these presences are fading, dissolving into the larger stillness that surrounds and permeates everything. I feel my body growing lighter, as though the cushions beneath me are lifting me up, as though I am floating just above their surface, held aloft by nothing but the gentleness of the air itself. This sensation is neither strange nor startling, but natural, expected, as though this is how things have always been, as though gravity itself has become optional, a choice rather than a law. The window framed the stars, and the stars framed the darkness, and the darkness frames the light, and all of it together frames this moment, this quiet resting place where nothing happens and everything is exactly as it should be. There is no difference now between the city and the sky, between the room and the space beyond the window, between myself and the light that fills my vision. All boundaries have soft blurred, become permeable, and I exist not as a separate thing but as part of the whole, indistinguishable from it. The star pulses, or perhaps my vision pulses in slow, regular rhythms that might be the beating of a heart, might be the breathing of the cosmos itself. Each pulse is a wave of light that washes over me, through me, and with each wave I feel myself becoming less solid, less defined, more like light myself, more like the air and the darkness and the space between the stars. Time has stopped, or perhaps it has always been stopped, and I am only now noticing, only now recognizing the eternal present that exists beneath the illusion of past and future. There is only this room, this light, this gentle floating in the midst of night. And even these things are not separate, but one thing, one seamless whole that cannot be divided or named. My breathing continues, though I am no longer aware of directing it. It happens by itself, a natural rhythm like the movement of tides, like the turning of worlds, and I simply allow it, grateful for its presence, for the way it connects me to the world, to life, to the slow and patient unfolding of existence. The cushions hold me, or I am holding them, or there is no difference between holding and being held, between supporting and being supported. We rest together, the room and I, the city and I, the stars and I, all of us suspended in this moment that has no end, that extends infinitely in all directions, that contains within it all the peace and all the quietness that has ever been or ever will be. The light from the window grows neither brighter nor dimmer, but remains constant, a steady presence that asks nothing and gives everything. I rest in that light. Let it fill me. Let it dissolve the last remnants of boundary between what is me and what is not me, until there is only the light itself, only the gentle glow that permeates everything. That is everything. And in that light, in that perfect stillness, I drift, suspended, held, cradled by the darkness and the stars and the endless, patient night that surrounds this floating city, this quiet room, this soft and fading moment of awareness that has become everything and nothing, all at once. The window holds the stars. The stars hold the light. The light holds the darkness. and the darkness holds me gently, carefully, as I drift deeper into the quiet, into the stillness, into the soft and endless now that stretches on and on, without beginning, without end, without anything but this gentle presence, this quiet awareness that asks nothing and needs nothing. I let my eyes close once more, and the star remains visible behind my lids, a soft glow that pulses very faintly, in time with something I cannot name, perhaps my heartbeat, perhaps the slow rhythm of the city's drift through space, perhaps the ancient cadence of the universe itself. The glow is warm and comforting, like a small lamp burning in a distant window, calling me home, though I am already home, already arrived, already resting in the place I was always meant to be. The cushions beneath me have become indistinguishable from the air around me, and I am suspended in a gentle medium that holds me perfectly, that requires no adjustment, no shifting, no accommodation. I simply rest, and the resting is complete, total, without reservation or remainder. Every muscle has released its tension. Every joint has found its natural alignment. Every part of me has settled into its proper place. Time continues its slow dissolution, its gentle fading into irrelevance. Minutes and hours have no meaning here, no purchase on the experience of this moment. There is only the extended now, the infinite present that contains all of time within itself, compressed into a single point of pure existence. I breathe in this present, breathe out this present, and with each breath I become more fully immersed in it, more completely absorbed. The star in the window, I can see it again now, though I do not remember opening my eyes, has been joined by others. Or perhaps they were always there, and I am only now noticing them. Small points of light scattered across the circle of visible sky, each one burning with the same patient constancy, each one offering the same gentle illumination. Together they form a constellation I do not recognize, a pattern that might be ancient or might be new, might be significant or might be random, and it does not matter which, because their beauty lies not in their meaning, but in their simple presence, their willingness to shine. I watch the constellation, letting my gaze drift from star to star, tracing invisible lines between them, creating patterns and then releasing them, allowing them to dissolve back into randomness. This gentle play of attention is soothing, requires no effort, demands no conclusion. It is simply something to do, a way of being present to the night, of participating in its quiet unfolding. The air in the room has grown slightly cooler, though the change is so subtle that I notice it only as a gradual awareness, a slow recognition that the temperature has shifted by some small degree. The coolness is pleasant, refreshing, like the touch of clean water on skin, and I welcome it. Let it wash over me. Let it mingle with the warmth that rises from within my own body, the warmth generated by the slow fire of life that burns in every cell. Somewhere far below, beyond the walls of this room, beyond the structure of the city itself, the clouds continue their eternal drift, pushed by winds I cannot feel, shaped by forces I cannot see. They move in patterns both chaotic and ordered, following laws that are simultaneously random and inevitable, and their movement is a kind of breathing, a slow inhalation and exhalation that mirrors my own, that connects me to the larger rhythms of the world. I think of the travelers who might have passed through this city before me, the countless beings who have walked these same streets, looked up at these same stars, rested in rooms perhaps very much like this one. They are gone now, moved on to other places, other moments, but their presence lingers somehow, woven into the fabric of the city itself, into the stones and the air and the quiet spaces between buildings. I am part of that continuity, another temporary visitor, another brief note in the long song of this place. And the thought brings comfort, a sense of belonging to something larger than myself. The stars continue their slow wheel across the window, their positions shifting by increments so small that I cannot detect the movement, can only infer it from the gradual change in the pattern they form. This imperceptible motion is like the movement of the city itself, like the drift of clouds, like the passage of breath so slow that it seems like stillness, and yet undeniably in motion, undeniably progressing through space and time. My hands have grown very still, the fingers no longer moving even slightly, no longer making those tiny unconscious adjustments that usually accompany rest. They lie like objects placed carefully on a surface, present but inactive, part of me and yet separate, resting in their own perfect stillness. I can feel them, can sense their presence, but they seem distant now, as though they belong to someone else, as though the connection between my awareness and my body has grown thin and tenuous. This thinning does not alarm me. It is natural, expected, the inevitable result of deep rest, a profound relaxation. The body is releasing its hold on consciousness, allowing awareness to drift free, to float in that space between waking and sleep where everything becomes soft and uncertain, where the boundaries that normally define experience begin to blur and fade. The window's circle of sky has darkened further, or perhaps my eyes have adjusted so that I can see more deeply into the darkness, can perceive shades and gradations that were invisible before. The space between the stars is not empty, but filled with a subtle luminosity, a faint glow that might be the light of distant galaxies, might be the cosmic background radiation left over from the birth of the universe, might be nothing more than the sensitivity of my own vision pushed to its limits. Whatever it is beautiful, this faint and delicate radiance that fills the spaces between points of light. It reminds me that emptiness is not truly empty, that the void is full of subtle energies and hidden presences, that what appears to be nothing is in fact everything, waiting to be seen, waiting to be acknowledged. I let my breathing slow even further, each inhalation now lasting many seconds, each exhalation even longer, until the pauses between breaths stretch out into small eternities, quiet gaps in which the world holds its breath along with me, waiting, suspended, perfectly balanced between one moment and the next. In these pauses I can hear the silence most clearly, can feel its texture and its weight, can sense the way it wraps around everything like a soft blanket, muffling all sharp edges, all sudden changes. The silence is not the absence of sound, but a presence in itself, a fullness that contains all possible sounds within it, holding them gently, keeping them in reserve. It is the silence of deep water, of vast distances, of spaces so large that sound cannot cross them, cannot bridge the gaps between source and listener. And yet it is also intimate, close, pressing against my ears like the gentlest of pressures, like the touch of air itself. My body has become so relaxed now that I am barely aware of it, conscious only of the points where it makes contact with the cushions beneath me, the back of my head, my shoulders, my hips, my heels. These points of contact are like anchors, small reminders that I am still physical, still embodied, still present in this particular place and time. But even these anchors are loosening, their hold weakening, and I can feel myself beginning to drift, beginning to float free of the last connections that bind me to the solid world. The stars in the window pulse with light, or perhaps it is my vision that pulses, the rhythmic dilation and contraction of my pupils, creating the illusion of movement, of change. Either way, the effect is hypnotic, soothing, and I let myself fall into the rhythm. Let it carry me deeper into the quiet, deeper into the stillness that has become my entire world. There is no separation now between the room and the sky, between the city and the cosmos, between my body and the space that surrounds it. Everything has merged into a single seamless whole, a unified field of existence in which I am both a discrete point and the entire expanse, both the observer and the observed, both the light and the darkness through which it shines. The cushions hold me, or I hold them, or we hold each other in a mutual embrace that requires no effort, no intention, that simply is. That exists as a fact of the universe, as inevitable and natural as gravity, as the attraction of mass for mass, of being for being. And in this holding, this gentle support, I find a peace so complete, so total, that it feels like coming home after a long journey, like arriving at a destination I have been seeking my entire life without knowing I was seeking it. The star continues to shine, patient and eternal, asking nothing, offering everything. I rest in its light. Let it fill me. Let it dissolve the last remnants of separation between what is me and what is not me, until there is only the light itself, only the gentle glow that permeates everything. That is everything. That contains within itself all the warmth and all the comfort and all the peace that has ever existed or ever will exist. And in that light, in that perfect stillness, I drift, suspended between the stars and the clouds, between the city and the sky, between awareness and sleep, held gently by forces I cannot name, carried softly by currents I cannot see, moving through the night with the same slow grace as the city itself, the same patient, unhurried progress through space and time. The window frames the stars, and the stars frame the darkness, and the darkness frames the light, and all of it together frames this moment, this eternal now that has no end, that stretches on forever, that contains within itself all of existence, all of being, all of the quiet and gentle mystery of what it means to simply be, to simply exist, to simply rest in the soft embrace of the universe. My breathing has become so slow now that it is almost imperceptible. Each breath a small tide that rises and falls with the patience of mountains, with the slowness of continents drifting across the face of the world. And with each breath, I sink a little deeper into the cushions, into the darkness, into the quiet that surrounds me like water, like air, like the gentlest of all possible embraces. The stars shine on, unchanging and eternal, and I watch them, or they watch me, and there is no difference any more, no separation between the watcher and the watched, between the light that shines and the eye that sees it, between the silence and the one who listens to it. There is only this gentle floating, this quiet rest, this soft and endless moment of perfect peace. The room holds me, the darkness holds me, the stars hold me, and I hold nothing, need nothing, want nothing, am nothing, and everything at once, dissolved into the quiet, absorbed into the stillness, becoming one with the slow and patient drift of the city, through the night, through the stars, through the infinite and gentle expanse of space and time. This floating, this quiet, this soft and fading light that carries me deeper, deeper into the heart of stillness, into the center of peace, into the place where all things rest, where all things return, where all things find their home at last. The star pulses, the darkness breathes, and I drift on, suspended, held, carried through the endless night, through the soft embrace of silence, through the gentle flowing of time that has ceased to be time and has become simply presence, simply being, simply this eternal now that stretches on and on, without beginning, without end, without anything but the soft and quiet peace of existing, of resting, of floating through the darkness toward a destination that is not a place, but a state of being, a condition of perfect rest, perfect stillness, perfect peace. Only this gentle drifting, only this soft and quiet now,